This is a presentation of National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasters, 70 weekly shows, and a 3.4-star rating on Roku TV. The Big Football Show every Sunday at 8 a.m. on Roku at 4 p.m. It's the Big Football Show. It's Sunday. We have the best football show on social media. I'm not bragging. It's true. Look it up. You can look it up anywhere. We definitely have that. So, good morning, everyone. And we're going to start this show off. Jack will be here soon. I got James, J-Train, NOLA, LSU. He has a lot of different AKAs, names he goes under just in case the FBI is still looking for him. And, of course, we got Sonia, who is also goes under a lot of different names. We're going to call her our football lady, as we are on the NFL show here from Prim and Proper Sports. As you see, I posted here a PSA. This is a public service announcement. Rookie quarterback realistic expectations. And I want to talk about this because I had somebody text me yesterday who decided to say I had to be impressed or someone impressed with one of the rookie quarterbacks. And I want everybody to temper their enthusiasm. I know you're a fan. I know you watch Sports Center and you watch the highlights and they show this one throw that a guy makes that every quarterback probably makes during the game. And they get all excited. This is not Get Up. This is not First Take. This is the Big Football Show. We don't just talk about the great things these quarterbacks do. We got to look at a hard look at what they aren't doing. Okay, so let's start with Caleb Williams. Everybody was excited by that one throw they made, a throw that a lot of quarterbacks make in the regular season. Then he runs for a touchdown. Guess what? They had a quarterback last year that did the same thing. In fact, he would run 40, 50, 60 yards for a touchdown. His name is Justin Fields. They got rid of him. Now, I'm not saying listen, you know what my feelings of Caleb Williams, James, right? You know, I don't have good feelings about Caleb Williams right now. And because he's a rookie quarterback and because of the expectations and because of a lot of things, this is still preseason. I think he went 6 for 13. There was 3 drives in a row that they went 3 and out. I mean, we're not talking about that. We're talking about one throw and a run. Jaden Daniels, how many touchdowns has he thrown so far in the preseason? 0. 0 touchdowns he's thrown so far. Drake May is still fooling around with whether he's going to start or sit down. I mean, he looked okay. He ran for a touchdown. These guys are rookie quarterbacks. They're playing in preseason a lot against other rookies, against players that may not make the team. So let's temper our expectations. If they all do great, I'm happy for them. I really am. I got nothing against Caleb Williams, nothing against Jaden Daniels, nothing against May. Not at all. Drake May, I hope they all do good. The statistics say they won't. So let's wait till the regular season. Let's see what happens the first 4 games. Let's see if these guys can bring their teams to at least 500. If they do, hey, they're on their way maybe. Maybe they're not. But I'm not going to get excited by one throw, and I'm not going to get excited by running for a touchdown when I see that all the time. You got any thoughts, James?
Yeah. I get tempering your expectations on what these guys can do in the beginning of the season. And they're playing against other rookies and, you know, other never well-bees coming into the league. I mean, not coming into the league, but never well-bees that are playing, you know, for their livelihood. But you can also see why they were selected in the positions. You can see the skill set that is there for a guy like Caleb Williams. I mean, it's not just a skill set; it seems to be a special skill set. It's not every guy is throwing across his side like that. There's very few people. I mean, what I saw was a, and I hate to throw a comparison out there, is a the guy in Kansas City. I hate to say it. I mean, similar magic trick type of throw. Most guys can't do that. A lot of guys don't have the talent. I'm not saying he's going to be doing it all the time. I'm just saying he looked around, he read his reads, the offensive line defensive guys are chasing him around. He found a way, and he threw a dime for 42 yards into a guy's bucket. And I'm not saying he's going to do that all the time. I'm just saying you can see why he was drafted number one. I can see that now. I mean, he's got other things to work on. I'm not saying he doesn't have things to work on. He's a rookie. So, yes, I agree with that. But you can see the traits. I can see why he was drafted at that position. I can also see why Jaden Daniels, he hasn't thrown a touchdown like you said, but he's showing you what he could do. I mean, and it hadn't happened. He ran a touchdown. I mean, so did Caleb. And Caleb, to be fair to Caleb, he threw a touchdown to Rome Odunze, and he stayed out of bounds. So I mean, he could have scored a touchdown, and that was an awesome throw. He's running to the side, almost out of bounds, and then he's off his back foot throwing a dime, and the guy's standing out of bounds. So I'm not saying that they can't, they can't do what they're expected to do. The reason why they were drafted was for things like that, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go through some bumps, but they're gonna succeed. I can see it.
Okay, so James has his crystal ball out. He says they're going to succeed. Sonia, before I introduce our a guy that had a rookie quarterback that had a great year, and so did Chicago. We're going to get into that in a minute. Sonia, what are your thoughts? I mean, as I said, this is not Sports Center. We're not going to just spotlight the good things that happen or the great things that happen. We're going to tell you everything that happened. And what are your thoughts? I mean, they are building up these rookies so far that they're building up, I think, to fail worse than they might anyway.
Yes. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Keith. Happy belated birthday. Keith had a birthday, guys.
Happy birthday, Keith.
A couple of days back. So good to see him and his celebration. So speaking of celebration, not from Keith's perspective, but just from your question, Mac, I think it's all wrong. Some teams are not even starting their starters. They're playing all rookies with these rookie quarterbacks. It's not a true test of performance when you're in a preseason setting that you're only playing all rookies. You're not even putting them in a realistic scenario. And even in this scenario, they're not surpassing the standard. I think I agree with you. They are setting them up for failure in the long run, not only from this perspective, but also from the standpoint that we see the lackluster performance. You're absolutely right. Caleb Williams at this point has mirrored Justin Fields almost identically. I see Chicago setting up for a mirror situation that they're going to be looking in the mirror, not saying, oh, wow, this guy looks familiar. Also looking in the mirror, the rearview mirror, like we regret what we did with Pittsburgh.
Okay, so let's. Keith Angle comes on, and I think he knows this better than anyone. All right, first, good morning, Keith. How you doing today?
Good morning. Good.
So, Keith, you had a rookie quarterback that played pretty well his first year. In fact, he looked like he was going to be your future quarterback. His name was Mac Jones. He actually did this in the regular season, and then because of a lot of different things, I mean, it kind of fell apart over there for Mac Jones. And he did okay in his support and in his game too in preseason. Against preseason, he did pretty well with the team he's on now. Let me ask you, Keith. I mean, I know you think Caleb Williams is going to be good. I mean, we've discussed this before. I said he's going to be a bust, and there's a lot of reasons why I think he's going to be a bust. Number one, that's just history of football when it comes to starting quarterbacks. You got Drake May, and this is how much the fans in the media build this stuff up. Drake May has a decent game. He ran it for a touchdown. I think he went 6 for 11, and I'm not even looking at my sheet right now. I think he went 6 for 11. And now it's a competition between Drake May and Brissett for the starting quarterback job. I mean, this is what they're saying. Is this competition up? What do you think? I mean, this is what I'm talking about, Keith. Go ahead.
There's no competition for who starts week 1 in New England. It's going to be Jacoby Brissett. They may talk about competition because it gets people to click on whatever they're writing and whatever. There's a lot of clickbait out there, right? And that's part of it. And the coaches might play into it a little bit because they're not, but the coaches don't do it for just to hype rookie quarterbacks. They don't want to tip their hand. And I get that. But to me, I think there's about a 1% chance that Drake May's a quarterback week 1. Has he maybe enhanced his chances of playing more this year than he might have? Yeah, but again, he's not. I'd be shocked if he started week 1. Now, the Bears and the Redskins have said pretty much from the beginning these guys would start week 1 unless something crazy happened. And we don't know. You're right. They're preseason games. Caleb Williams has looked really good, but I've also watched the first couple of weeks of Hard Knocks, and it's reality TV, so we don't see it all. It's all edited. But watching him handle himself in camp and in practices, and they do show some of the more negative things when he makes mistakes and how he reacts to them. There's nothing for me to say he's going to be a bust. I'm not going to say he's going to be Patrick Mahomes either, but he can do a lot of things that a lot of other quarterbacks can't do. Whether he does it when the games count, that'll be what matters.
Right. I agree. So, Rick, thank you. Yeah, we did it with Sports Memories every Saturday, folks. You can check it out on YouTube. It's there. We talked a little bit about semi-pro. Congratulations on your brother, Rick. That's really cool that he gets there. And one of the things we talked about, Johnny Unitas was a semi-pro football player.
He was. That's true.
He was. Yeah. So a lot of real cool things there, and if you want to check it out. But we're on a big football show right now. So let's get to Keith. We have you in for, of course, your outlook on the Patriots and college football. I would be remiss without talking about, because we didn't talk about it on our show last week. A lot, Judon getting traded. In fact, I think we talked about it Wednesday night that he might be traded. He got traded right after the show. So Judon going to the Falcons. I mean, James has got to be happy about that. They got a pass rusher, and the Patriots get a 3rd-round draft choice in return.
I think in the long run, this will be best for both teams. He wasn't happy here. He wasn't going to get paid what he wanted. They offered him an extension, 1-year extension during the offseason, and he said no flatly. And he didn't really cause any problems. There was a little hubbub where he, skipped the practice and had a little heated discussion with Mayo. We don't even know what they were talking about, but he's a great player when he's healthy. He didn't play enough last year, only played 3 games, had 12.5 sacks, I want to say, the year before, but missed the last 3 games when the Patriots were still in playoff contention. He's a great player. Just keep him on the field. I think it's a good trade for the Falcons, and I think it's in the long run it'll be a good trade for the Patriots. It's a tough spot to replace. It's a good defense already. They played well without him last year, though, too. So I'm confident that this defense will still be okay without Matthew Judon. I do like him, though, and I'm happy for the Falcons. They needed some help on that defensive side of the football. So I think they'll get the rewards of this a lot sooner.
I agree. You're right. So let's jump into college here. I just saw this. I don't know if it's just breaking or not. I think it is. A group of the group of five, they call it, is discussing a secondary championship, Keith, like the NIT is to the NCAA championship. They're worried because of this the playoff picture now in the 12 teams, that bowl game ratings will go down. And they want to talk about having some sort of championship where the number one, the best, the number one schools with the best record go into this championship. Of course, they're not going to give up any team that makes it the real championship. They go play the real championship, but they're going to try and get some of the SEC teams that aren't in the national championship to come to that event. So your thoughts on that? I mean, they're talking, I guess they're talking about it. Like I said, they're worried about the attendance at these bowl games. As we do this, the bowl games are going to drop off more and more. What are your thoughts on something like that?
Well, they can't drop off much more than they are. Some of these lesser tier bowl games, there's more people in my living room watching the games than there are in the stadium, for crying out loud, if we're watching them at all. There's too many bowl games. I don't think this is the answer, though. I mean, who's going to care? Who's going to really care about who wins this tournament when it's got, I mean, it could be the 30th best team in the country or maybe worse. I mean, even the group of 5 teams who want this exposure, their best team won't be playing in it. So they're going to be in the 12-team playoff every time. And again, I'm not fully versed on what they're trying to do, and I will get caught up on it because it must be breaking news because I didn't catch that this morning when I was scanning some stuff this morning. Would it be better than some of these bowl games? Yeah, because I will say the 12-team playoff is going to eliminate some of these bowls at some point, which is fine. I don't need to see 6 and 6 and in some cases 5 and 7 teams because they can't find enough 6 and 6 teams to go play in these bowl games. So,
Keith, maybe it has the impact of an NIT. Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, and again, but the NIT has become relevant mostly today. I think too. That was a big tournament up until the early '80s, maybe. And as the NCAA basketball tournament expands, that gets less relevant. Even at one time, it was the number one. That was the champion of basketball. Really, was the NIT champion. So maybe it'll have some positive impact. I got to look a little more, but I don't get excited over teams that are going to put. We're the champions of the teams that weren't the 12 best in the country besides us. So,
right. I remember they were thinking about one time having like a professional to 2 losers playing for the for some kind of championship in the Super Bowl way back when, and of course Vince Lombardi said that they're losers. Why would I want to participate in something like that? But again, hey, listen, maybe as you said, if it's better than a bowl game, if it has championship written next to it, maybe people tune in. I don't know.
Here's what I would do. Don't call it maybe. Call it something else. Find a way to position it so it's something other than a championship, right? I don't know what the marketing should be on it, but you could probably make it worthwhile if you didn't call it a championship. Think about the NBA midseason champion. Who cares? The Lakers can love that banner all they want, but it means absolutely nothing at the end of the day.
Right. As Danny comes in, and thank you for all the comments and the views, folks. Keep it coming in. I'll definitely get up on the screen.
There you go, Danny got me. Hey, did he say exactly
Danny,
what I just said?
Well, he was right behind you. He was typing while you were talking, Keith.
By the way, Danny's very dedicated.
Yeah, almost, right?
5:27 in LA today. Danny's very dedicated to these shows. I can tell you right now.
Listen, we love having them. So Keith, we talked off, a little bit Friday, or I should say, we texted. Not talked. We texted. There was a documentary series on Netflix that I never saw. I just tuned in and watched it. It's called Swamp Kings, and it's about Urban Meyer leaving Utah, going to Florida. The first year there, not so good. They lost, I think, 3 games. Second year, they come back and they win the national championship, beating Ohio State. Big underdogs come and they just whooped Ohio State's butt. A lot of different things I saw there that were kind of interesting. The way Urban Meyer went about his business as a college coach, the arrival of Tim Tebow, the rivalry between him and Steve Spurrier. I know you said you watch it. What are your thoughts on that series? If anybody hasn't seen it and wants to check it out.
It's a great, they do some great stuff with these documentaries. I love getting inside. They all have their agendas. So they approach this. And while they didn't sugarcoat a lot of things. They didn't really dive into some of the darker side of the program. There was about, 2 minutes dedicated to Aaron Hernandez. And Aaron Hernandez was not a good guy at the University of Florida or anywhere, obviously. But as long as you could play football and help us win on Saturdays, a lot of that stuff was going to get pushed aside. Now, he recruited a lot of great players. Urban Meyer is one of the best college coaches ever. Not, not the best, obviously, but he turned around a lot of programs. I mean, at Bowling Green, at Utah, he almost won a national championship at Utah. People forget that. He beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. They could have been the national champion. And obviously at Florida and then Ohio State. But a lot of stuff followed him around in those each one of those programs. Not necessarily player recruitment or your normal college scandals, but they weren't always policing the kids probably the way they should have. We talked about it with Kirby Smart and some of the things going on in Georgia. Multiply that by 100, and that was what was going on at Florida at the time. Great players. Tim Tebow is one of the greatest college players of all time. And Urban Meyer is a great college coach, but that was a great series. And I think it's a good look behind what was going on there. And I thought some of what the interviews with the former, you didn't see all of the players. There were certain guys they focused on, maybe not the top elite guys, but certainly guys that were great contributors and that went on to play in the NFL. And I think it was a great look at inside a very successful college football program.
Yes. So I did enjoy it. I think it's pretty telling how both these the Florida head coaches who did unbelievable job at Florida went into the pros, and they it's like they almost didn't care. I mean, Steve Spurrier's playing golf when he should be getting ready for games. Urban Meyer staying behind and dancing with women, and yeah, I mean, it was like they were so intense when they were college coaches, and they were so rah that when they got to the pros, they kind of forgot about everything.
But the college game coaching is, while it's becoming more like a professional, it's not quite as 24/7, 365 days a year as the NFL is. And that's Steve Spurrier still wanted to go there and coach like he did at the University of Florida, where he had guys going out and recruiting for him all during the offseason. He had to make a few phone calls and maybe a home visit here and there. And you can't do that in the NFL. And that's why a lot of college coaches do fail.
Yes.
And it's interesting. Two guys who ran that program a lot differently in my mind, two great coaches at the same school and had great success and ran, I think, their programs totally differently. And very little success in between of those two guys, too, by the way, remember.
Very true. Very true. So a very interesting series. If anybody wants to watch it, check it out. It's called Swamp Kings on Netflix. Let's welcome in Jack Hirsch. We'll be asking him a trivia question somewhere down the road, but he just made it in time.
I ended my holdout.
Yes, yeah, he ended his holdout. I told him I was going to do the nuclear option on him. That his contract would still be valid next year, and he could just sit out, and I continually would fine him. So he decided to show up for practice. Of course, this is our practice to the regular season. So. And with that, Sonia just found out it's only practice and left the show. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, what did you say behind the scenes here? I don't know.
I haven't asked her a question in a while. Maybe she's upset with me. I don't know. But anyway, there she's back. She's back. She didn't like her placement. Maybe she does this sometimes. I think she doesn't like where she's placed, and she picks out and comes back.
Like the lower left-hand corner.
My whole screen froze up, guys. My whole screen, and then it kicked me out. I didn't do anything but come back.
You just wanted to be next to Jack again. We know.
Hi,
Jack. Anyway, so let's start getting into the games. Of course, we already talked a little bit about the Patriots. The Patriots did end up losing to Philadelphia 14-13. Jalen Hurts didn't play. A lot of the Eagles starters were out for that game. A lot of the Patriots, I don't think all their starters played either. The third teams normally, when a lot of starters will play at least a series or two. So they end up losing 14-13. Baltimore beats Atlanta 13-12. Neither starting quarterback played. Heineke went 8 for 16 for 114 yards. Johnson for Baltimore went 11-11 for 120 yards. Again, no Jackson. And so a lot of quarterbacks, well, I should say a lot of starting quarterbacks have played, guys, but there are a few that haven't played a game yet. And it's really amazing to me They're holding them out. They're holding them out. Their preseason is going to start what? Their game one? I mean, why wouldn't you want to get him in there and get some work? Injuries, I guess you're worried about. I mean, even Penix Jr., Jack, they're setting him down. He's done for the year. No more preseason for him. I mean, wouldn't you want to play your backup quarterback in case, Kirk Cousins, who hasn't played yet either, gets hurt?
Because you don't have your specific units that you're playing with, so things are really out of whack. I mean, are you really going to play a starter? And I'm not talking about Penix Jr., who's a backup, but you're really going to play a starter with guys from the second and third unit who are mixed up, who aren't going to be playing together during the season. I mean, things are kind of like out of whack in the preseason. Plus, they're doing evaluations, as far as the final cuts, guys coming off injuries. The mesh isn't really quite there, yet. That's the reason why they're holding guys off. And it's a long season, too. And of course, there's the obvious, they're scared that someone's going to get injured, so they want to play their impact players as little as possible.
And they won't play a lot next week.
Well, a lot of the starting quarterbacks.
They won't play a lot next week either,
right,
because now they got to get from 90 to 53 after next week's game. So you're going to see a lot of guys get evaluated next week too. So we don't do enough.
I agree, Keith. Normally, the starting quarterback's going with the starting unit from what I've been watching. It's not like they put the starting quarterback out there with the third strings against the other first stringers and say, have at it. I mean, they protect them. In the Houston-New York Giant game, when Daniel Jones was in there, the starting unit was in there. And I mean, it's not like they threw, third stringers in there and said, okay, Daniel Jones, deal with it. They didn't do that. And by the way, Daniel Jones, the first drive, I mean, what a bonehead play that was when he throws the interception while he's falling down to the other team. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. He threw 2 interceptions. Of course, he's rusty, hasn't played for over a year or so. But he did end up coming back and leading the team on 2 scoring drives. I look at the preseason a lot different than everybody else. I don't care if Daniel Jones throws 5 interceptions. I really don't care. He's got to get out there. He's got to get some work. But I was impressed with the offensive line. That was my biggest worry about the Giants. And the offensive line looked really good when they had their starting quarterbacks in there. If their offensive line can play well, hold the pocket, open the holes for the running back, I'm happy. I'm not worried about the mistakes that are made. That's what preseason is for. It's not to actually win the game. It's more to see what your units do. As Jack talks about, you got your starting units, and then you got your other units that are playing together, and this is how you're evaluating people. So I wasn't pleased that Jones threw that first interception, but I don't want to say happy. I was glad to see him make a comeback and lead them on 2 scoring drives. So that's what I thought of that. And when we were against Houston, first squad, it was 14-10. That's pretty good to play in the Houston Texans. I'm satisfied. Let's put it that way. Chicago against Cincinnati. We talked about Caleb Williams already. Sonia, I mean, Cincinnati didn't play Joe Burrows at all. They pretty much get run out of the building 27-3. I know it's preseason again, but there is something to be said about having a good showing, right? I mean, the team has got to look like it's together, that it's that it's at least a decent team out there when they're playing. And I think this will frustrate coaches.
Yeah, it's been a lot of stuff going on with Cincinnati. I mean, you do mention that it's the preseason, but it is something of note to know that we haven't seen Joe Burrow. Of course, he missed a lot of last season. We should have at least seen him at this point, so he can get back out there and try to warm up, at least to try to show everyone what he's got, even though it is the preseason. But like you said, the 53-man roster projection is coming up real soon. They're going to be making cuts. We don't know who he's played with during training or anything like that. Only thing we saw from Joe Burrow is that he colored his hair and had a different image, and everybody was kind of, fawning all over him for that. We've also got to think about what's going on with their wide receiver, Jermaine Burton, and we've got a lot of missing pieces of the puzzle that we just have not seen as of yet. So I guess it's going to be one of those situations, like you said, week one will unfortunately be their preseason. And to me, I think that's really a novice mistake at a minimum, because unfortunately we've seen players come in from the veteran status and absolutely just either injure themselves or bomb the first couple of games. So I have no idea what's going on with Cincinnati. They got routed in a preseason, which is, I don't think they've ever been routed like that in a preseason as far as barely getting on the scoreboard, but who knows? It's crazy.
I don't think a player like a Joe Burrow on the league has to show anyone anything. His teammates see him in practice every day. They know how ready he is. I mean, he doesn't have to play for his teammates' sake. They see him. They know what they got. They know he'll be ready for the season opener. So he doesn't have to show us anything. What does it matter what we think? It doesn't matter at all. Okay? It matters, you know, how ready he's going to get, the confidence his teammates have in him, and it's probably pretty high. They probably see him gearing for opening day.
And thanks, Danny, for referring
I know what you're saying, Jack, and you know, I mean, I know what Jack's saying, but you still, as a team, you still want to feel good about what you did out there, in getting run out like Cincinnati did. I think it shows the coach has a lot of work to do, and they got 2 weeks to do it. And I know a lot of these players aren't going to be there, but there are a lot of players that are going to be there, and they got to evaluate people constantly. I think you still, as a team, want to have a good showing. Is all I'm saying, Jack. I'm not saying that Joe Burrows ain't ready to play in the regular season. There's no doubt he's a vet, great quarterback. I'm just talking about the overall team more than I am individual players. Detroit versus Kansas City. Everybody's making a big deal about the behind the back pass by Patrick Mahomes. Again, they take something like that and they make it huge. I mean, it's not like he threw a touchdown behind his back. It's not like this was the greatest play I ever saw. He threw it behind his back to Kelsey, and Kelsey, I guess, picked up the first down. Let's not get crazy out there. I mean, it's in the top plays. I don't know. Anyway, Detroit ended up winning that. Goff hasn't played in the preseason yet. Patrick Mahomes has played in every season, every game. He don't care. He's the best quarterback in the league. He wants to get out there and play. I love Patrick Mahomes. Detroit won in the final seconds on the field goal. I think it was the last play, as a matter of fact. So Detroit gets the win. Kansas City looks good. Minnesota, Jack's team with Sam Darnold. I think that's his second team now. Sam Darnold didn't play, but Minnesota beat Cleveland pretty significantly, guys. I mean, no Watson again. He was supposed to play, and he didn't play. And again, Deshaun Watson with that broken shoulder, they don't know what they got over there. So I'm kind of surprised that Deshaun Watson didn't at least get in there for a series or two. James, would you agree that, Watson needs work? I mean, he's only played a full season in his first 2 or 3 seasons. He's played 16 games in 3 years, and he goes out last year with a broken shoulder. They need to get him in there in game circumstances to at least get him ready, right?
Yes, it might be too late because the last game they're really trying to evaluate. Like the person said before, 90 players. You're trying to cut down to like you said as well, a 53-man roster. You got to evaluate a lot of players that that really aren't going to be there anymore. And so to not have him play this game or any other starting quarterback at this game, this is pretty much what used to be the third game of the preseason, where the starting team plays maybe a first quarter or half and shut it down for the rest of the preseason. And so, because they already know what they got. But right now, they're acting as if they already know what they have with him in practice, but you're not seeing it in action against other, live action against other teams. And so there's a big question mark. And I think that the main thing is whether or not, I'm pretty sure he has chemistry with the team and they believe in him, because I just, hear them talk about him and they want to, play under this guy. But whether or not he can be healthy, I think is the main question. And he can sustain a 16-game season, is going to be telling. And I think not being out there now, it would have been a great sign to see him at least play a series or two and say that, okay, our guy's back, we're ready to roll. Let's look forward to try to, push for playoffs and potential a Super Bowl. Because their defense is stout still, and they have a decent offense, so they can contend. It's just a question mark on whether or not he can sustain. And then don't sleep on having Jameis Winston as a backup as well too. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in if he gets hurt and he comes in and light it up.
Well,
Okay, Jack, do you have anything? I know
the offense and the other team's defense. Yeah. He's a good back. No, listen, he's a great guy to have as a backup, Jameis Winston. Deshaun Watson was coming around last year before he got injured. He was having good moments. Deshaun Watson does not have an injury history. This is just an ongoing injury. Once he heals from it, he's going to be fine. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league once he's completely healthy, and he will get completely healthy at some point. I'm not sure whether they'll give him the comeback player of the year award either this year or next year because of his off-the-field issues. I mean, that might work against him. But Deshaun Watson is going to reestablish himself. I wouldn't get hype about Deshaun Watson. Cleveland has a lot of money invested in him. They're kind of babying him. He's coming off the injury last year. So they're kind of peaking for the beginning of the year with him. I kind of wonder, is he going to be in game one? James is right. Maybe Jameis Winston starts. He plays well. But I'll tell you this. Jameis Winston and Deshaun Watson both have a big body of work. And it's obvious who's the better quarterback of the two. So I don't want to hear at any point about a quarterback competition. And you mentioned Minnesota, too, with Sam Darnold not playing. They had Nicky Mullins play. Nicky Mullins played last year. He only has so much upside. They're not looking to have a quarterback competition in Minnesota, Darnold and Nicky Mullins, because if Nicky Mullins winds up being the guy, then the Vikings really are in trouble. They might be in trouble with Sam Darnold, but they'll definitely be in trouble with Nicky Mullins.
Yeah, with J.J. McCarthy out, it makes sense to not play Darnold. Darnold's already – I think Darnold will play a little bit next week. But, if you lose Sam Darnold and you do have Mullins as your starting quarterback, I don't know what's going to happen there.
Well,
So,
let me tell you something, Matt. You'd be nice to Sam Darnold because next year he might be the Giants' starting quarterback. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Vikings are not going to give him big money with J.J. McCarthy coming back. The Giants won't give him a monster contract. They'll give him a Geno Smith-type contract, and Darnold will become a New York Giant next year. That's my prediction.
So Jack still thinks Sam Darnold is a starting quarterback. We'll get to that in a little bit. Let's see. Indianapolis played Arizona. They beat them 21-13. No Kyler, no Levitz. They had a couple people in there that we don't know as quarterbacks that I don't know anyway. Toon went 8 for 10 for 79 yards for Arizona. Jim Beam, besides the famous whiskey, he's also playing football. He was 7-9 for 94 yards. So I mean, again, no starting quarterback. I don't think Kyler Murray has played as of yet because of the injury. Also, I know Jack has less worries about this than me. But I still don't understand why the starting quarterback would not be in there in game situations, at least for a quarter. We'll find out how that plays out in the regular season. Tennessee beats Seattle. No Geno Smith. He's been injured. Sam Howell did go 11 for 14 for 153 yards and 1 TD. Again, with Washington, he didn't have a line. He was sacked more than any of the quarterback in the league, but he did have up amongst the most yardage passing. I don't know what's going to happen with Geno Smith. I think Sam Howell still has a chance at becoming a starting quarterback somewhere, if not with Seattle. We'll see what happens. I mean,
Matt, these numbers are meaningless with these backups coming in, dude. They're meaningless. Don't you understand? They put up a good stat line and you get all excited and you're ready to make them starters or start quarterback controversies in competitions. They're meaningless, these numbers. They're getting players who are either going to be in the practice squad or being cut half the defensive team.
I'll let you go, James. I'll let you go in a minute, James. If you were here in the beginning of the show, you missed the whole thing I just said about too much excitement over the starting rookie quarterbacks, and that goes to any quarterback.
Well, I'm not talking about rookie quarterbacks.
All I'm saying, well, that's any quarterback. That's any quarterback, James. I mean, Jack, what I'm saying is that he was a starter last year, Jack, and he was with the starting unit during the preseason game, Jack. He wasn't thrown out there with third stringers. You keep saying that these quarterbacks that are potential starters are going out with third string players. They are not. The first string is going out to protect these quarterbacks that might start. So Sam Howell started, I guarantee you, the starting offensive line, the starting wide receivers such as DJ Metcalf caught a touchdown pass are out there, Jack. They're not throwing them out there with third stringers. Right? Anyway, let's get to Buffalo against Pittsburgh. And Jack, this is what we do. We analyze and break down games. No Allen. Trubisky goes 9 of 13 for 86 yards. Fields goes 11 of 17 for 92 yards. He also leads the team in rushing. Russell Wilson got sacked like 3 times. The offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers I thought would be better. It's not. It's terrible. So Wilson, of course, is not fleet of foot as Justin Fields is. So he got sacked 3 times. Fields was running for his life while he was in there. Had a good rush, made a good throw. Again, 9-3. I mean, Buffalo didn't look good. Pittsburgh didn't look good. So anyway, that's what happened with that game. Miami beats Washington. Tua gets in there, throws a touchdown. They take him out. Let's see. Here's another rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, 10 for 12 for 78 yards. Pretty good, right? That's a good high percentage. He didn't throw for a touchdown yet. He made a nice run. So, James, there's your second rookie quarterback that you project will be a Hall of Famer. So Washington takes the loss. The New York Jets against the Carolina Panthers. Sonia, you almost got the Jets. You almost got them.
I was wanted so close. If for no other reason for Jack.
Yes.
I was at a wedding last night, so I didn't get to see the game. So I really can't talk on the game. I mean, I was just looking at updates and all, and it's what it is. It's a sparring session, basically.
Right. There was no Rodgers.
I will say about your offensive line, Jack. You got to be happy about Olu Fashanu. I'm pleased with what I've seen with him on that side. First of all, let me give you a stat line about this kid in college. He never allowed a sack not once during his whole career. And I think he gave up 1 pressure. Now, mind you, he's playing against maybe second and third string guys, but he looks good on that right side. So
I hope I'm proven wrong, because I would have drafted Brock Bowers, this very special tight end. So I hope I'm proven wrong on that.
Yeah, I was going to say that Carolina is one of those teams that has not played any of their regular people. Like they've not played any of their starters, and there's been some ruckus around that, especially coming off the season we had. So we need to be putting our people in there, especially Bryce. We need to see what that looks like. We've got the Brooks injury. I think Xavier Legette, the 2 people we picked up, are freaking injured. So I have no idea what our season's going to look like. Like, it must be a curse down there. I don't know what Tepper's got going on. But
the Panthers have 2 seasons, the team season and the Bryce Young season. And if one of the 2 are good, fine. But Bryce Young, if he plays this year the way he did last year, I don't think there's a third year as a Panther starter. I don't care whether he went number 1 overall or not. I think we're going to move on from him. But, of course, he's going to land somewhere else, not as a starter But when a guy's drafted that highly, he doesn't get cut so soon. He could kick around the league for years.
It's going to be interesting to see because they still have Andy Dalton on our squad as a backup. So we know what that's going to look like. If it doesn't look good, they'll at least throw Andy in there like they did Sam Darnold and everybody else as a starter, and then it'll just be a mess all over again.
That's like putting on a Band-Aid without a disinfectant on a bad cut.
Or like putting a Band-Aid over, or like putting a band over a surgical incision.
Yes.
There you go.
Band-Aid.
There you go. There you go.
No.
Okay, Jackson. The Jags, they ended up beating Tampa Bay 20-7. Mac Jones 16 for 23 for 2 touchdowns. He probably has a backup job over there to Trevor Lawrence, who didn't play. And neither did Mayfield. Trask ended up going 12 for 19 for 100 yards and a touchdown for Tampa Bay. So both the starters didn't play there. Mac Jones has a shot there to being his backup quarterback. Maybe they can save his career. Maybe he's a career backup. I don't know. I think that at least he's out of New England, and that will take away some of the pressure that he was under playing in New England, trying to be the number 1 quarterback. So we'll see how he makes out over there at Jacksonville. Dallas beats the Raiders. Lance goes 15 for 2,351 yards, 1 TD. Pretty good stats. O'Connell and Minshew both played. They both made mistakes. There's going to be a decision to be made. Who's going to start there? They'll probably, I would think, James, they take the experienced quarterback over, that they take Minshew instead of O'Connell, but I'm not sure.
I mean, you can flip a coin. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we know who Gardner Minshew is. He's just a journeyman. He'll come in and give you flashes of a good game here and there, but with what you got, I probably would go with the younger guy that has potential and see what he has, and just have Gardner Minshew as my second guy to come in and fill in and do what he does normally, if need be. But I'd go with the young guy. I like with what I saw flashes of last year. They got two good tight ends. They still got Devontae Adams, and I think they'll do decent. But I would go with I would go with Aiden O'Connell first.
Well, just remember, the coach's job is on the line, so he's gonna do what he thinks is best for the team and best to win. So we do have our games coming up today. We have a couple matchups. We have Green Bay playing Denver, New Orleans playing San Francisco, and Sonia, your mission, Sonia, is to let us know how Green Bay this year does what they didn't do last year. Puts together a team and actually wins the Super Bowl. That's your mission, Sonia. So explain to us and all those Green Bay Packer fans out there how Green Bay makes the Super Bowl and wins it.
All right, Tundra Network, the Frozen Network. That's all the NFC North. If you guys are watching, I know you are. This is going to be your favorite part of the show. So the NFC North is extremely competitive this season. We've seen a lot of moving pieces, solid pieces, and those divisions are coming together. Even Minnesota has a chance of still making it very competitive up there in the North. However, Green Bay has actually captioned, shaped, cultivated Jordan Love behind the helm of the great Aaron Rodgers. We've seen Green Bay have successful quarterbacks in the past, from all the way from Brett Favre all the way down, just because of how they cultivate their quarterbacks by letting them sit, learn, and watch the game, and then bring them out at the maturation phase. This is no different. Jordan Love did what everyone wanted him to do last year, and that was eliminate the Cowboys in the playoff contentions, and it felt like Green Bay came out of nowhere, but they really did. And then having this offseason where they've been practicing, drafting more talent just to build around Jordan Love, I see Green Bay going all the way at a minimum. I know you said win the Super Bowl, but the NFC as a whole is going to be extremely competitive at the Super Bowl level. I do see Green Bay going to the NFC Championship. I will say that without a doubt. Jordan Love has those weapons there. Like I've mentioned, they have a good coaching staff, and they just look very solid, Mac. I would not be surprised at all if the Packers probably go, let's see, we're like 18 weeks now, I think they got on the season. They'll probably go only lose about maybe 5, maybe 6 games the entire season. So get ready for a very competitive NFC North and get ready to see the Green Bay Packers in an NFC divisional, which we have not seen in a very long time. But I think it's time for Jordan Love to come out and show what he's really got with Green Bay.
A good job. But let's not forget that was the final 7 games of the season, or 8 games counting the playoff, that Jordan Love looked good.
The ones that count.
That's true. It's true. Listen. I gave you a mission. You did a good job with it, Sonia. I'll give you credit on that.
Thank you. Can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
I just want to ask one off the record question. Jack, are you wearing a South of the Border t-shirt?
Yeah, I did.
Ooh, I knew it. So just real quick, I saw the top part of his shirt. South of the Border is my home area. I'm like 5 miles from south of the border. It's on the North and South Carolina border. So shout out to you, Jack, for representing North and South Carolina today.
When I drive
to south of the border.
When I drive to Florida, it's always one of my highlights, passing south of the
Yay,
border.
I used to go there. That's like our little small theme park. So
Yeah.
sorry, I had to pivot for a moment and give Jack a shout out because he never represents anywhere close to where I'm from. So I had to recognize it now. So when I see south of the border, I'm home.
Yeah, when I stop at the shops, I see Carolina Panther stuff. I don't buy it though.
You can buy it and just ship it to me just for like, hey, I'm so glad we're colleagues and friends gift.
By the time I drive by there late in the year, even you might not want Panther stuff anymore.
I always want Panther stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so before we go to break, we always have the Just Ask Jack trivia question. James got it right in place of Jack last week. A question that Jack would have.
Well, you gave him a New Orleans Saint question.
I didn't. It was a question that you probably would have got right too. I make him a little harder for you, Jack. So here's your trivia question.
I'm gonna have a losing record, a 17-game season. I'm gonna go like 4-13.
Last thing wasn't the Saints question.
Drew Brees.
As you see, who was the first ever?
James was better than me. He was the better man. I hit my hand.
Well, no, Jack. What he meant was when you weren't here. It was Joe Montana. What last team he played for?
Right.
Oh, that was. That I know that.
You can't get your question out, man.
Is that the question?
Said he's delaying. He's delaying. This is what he does so he can think more.
No. Who was the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs?
Jack, who was the first ever defensive player to be drafted #1 in the NFL? And we are going to let Jack think about this. As Jack, stop ruining the format. We are going to come back after the commercial and see if Jack can answer the question as who was the first defensive player ever drafted in the first round. But first, folks,
the last one.
The first one ever drafted, Jack. Let's go ahead and get our commercial in, and we'll let Jack have time to think about it. I'm Mac McGrath, CEO of National Streaming Sports, and I'm excited to tell you about our Roku Sports channel. Already has over 12,000 followers, 20 podcasts, over 70 weekly shows, and a 3.4-star rating. Our channel is anchored by great morning shows, afternoon shows, and nighttime shows with great shows in between. Specialized shows with our experts in all sports. To get National Streaming Sports on Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports, tap on our logo. On laptop, tablet, or mobile phone, download the free Roku app, channel search, tap on our logo. For smart TV, order the Roku device from the Roku store, hook it up to your TV, channel search National Streaming Sports, and tap on the logo. We got what you want. We're National Streaming Sports.
Hello, this is Paul Semendinger, award-winning author and the host of the Dr. Sem Yankee Show and the Start Spreading the News podcast. And you are watching The Big Football Show, the very best football show in the entire world. And it's here on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jack has just left the building. He I don't know what he's doing.
The pressure's
But anyway,
on.
we are no longer Northeast Streaming Sports.
Phoning
We are,
a
of course, on
friend.
National Streaming.
He's
Sure.
phoning a
I think
friend.
did we have that as an option to phone a friend? We didn't have that as an option.
No, but that's what
He's
he's doing.
closing.
Look,
He's closing windows. He's putting his books, his encyclopedias away
Well,
right
I
now.
don't know the answer. I mean, I'm going in my head. I thought originally it was the last one, and I'm not sure I would have been right on that. I was going to say Mario Williams. Okay, that was going to be my answer. But you're talking about the first one in NFL history.
Now it's in your wheelhouse, Jack. It's not like the 1920s, 1930s. I mean, it's in your wheelhouse. This is a player that you would know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking in terms, okay? And I'm not sure it was even drafted number 1, but he would have been highly touted. I'm thinking in terms of Merlin Olsen.
That's a good guess, but not right.
Yeah.
Good guess, but not right. He was up there. He wasn't number 1, but I know he was in that top tier drafted.
Yeah.
And I know you're probably right, Mario Williams. I didn't look that up, but I think he might have been the last defensive
The last
player.
one that
I think he was.
But,
James, do you have a guess?
Daddy Wilkinson and for Cincinnati.
No. Sonia, How about you? Do you have a guess that who would be the first ever defensive player taken number 1 in the draft?
I think I know the team, but not the person. Is the team
All right.
Chicago?
No. Okay, so anyway, this guy was a big player on this team, helped him to get to the Super Bowl, and his name is the great defensive end,
Wow.
Bubba Smith. And
Oh, Bubba Smith. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I should have known that. Bubba Smith.
like I say, Jack, I will keep it in your wheelhouse. I will not make it so ridiculous that
No.
you don't have
No. That was within range to be gotten, definitely, from Michigan State, Bubba Smith coming out. Yeah, I mean, even though he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, his career was a little bit of a disappointment. He was supposed to be a generational player, like along the lines of LT. He was considered so dominant. You know, and even though, like I said, he's in the Football Hall of Fame, he's had a great career. He wasn't really a dominant player, you know, in the NFL. He did sack Joe Namath in the Super Bowl, though.
I mean, he was one of the players that thought the merger was fixed. He had a lot of off-field comments about a lot of things. He was very outspoken. But, you know, a great defensive lineman. I remember watching him play, and you know, I did think he was a very good defensive lineman. Anyway, we're gonna discuss here. I saw this bit on Coffee and Sports, one of our morning shows during the week, and it's a great bit and it's a great list to try to come up with. Of course, it's a preseason list, and it's going to be hard to do this because there's a lot of different factors that would come into this. And what we're going to try and do, we'll have a preseason look at our rankings of the top of the 16 quarterbacks that will be, I'm almost 100% positive, will be the starters in the NFC. And we're going to rank them by division, and we're going to move them up and down the slots. I got a piece of paper here so we can keep up. And I want it to be somewhat unanimous. I don't want, you know, a split. I know Sonia may have to leave soon or whatever, but we'll carry on with this. So we're going to start in the NFC East. And between what would be the position you would put these 4 quarterbacks in? You've got, of course, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. We're going to have Jaden Daniels, who will probably be the starter, and DJ Daniel Jones. Where would you place them? We'll start with Sonia because she's leaving here in a second. Where would you place these 4 quarterbacks in what order?
I'd put Dak at number 1, Jalen at number 2, Jaden at number 4 because I just feel like he's still a rookie, and I'll go ahead and put Daniel Jones at number 3. 3 and 4 can be interchangeable. Let's be clear, but so can 1 and 2 if Eagles get it together this year.
So you got Daniels. What do you got for your top 4? Or your placement of the 4, James? What do you got?
I got Dak Prescott number 1, Jalen Hurts number 2, Jaden Daniels number 3, and I have Daniel Jones number 4.
Okay, so you haven't. We got the Philly sports guy on the road. How you doing today, Pags?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Hey, Pag.
We're
Hey,
doing
man.
good. What we're doing, Pags, for a bit here is we're going through the 16 quarterbacks in the NFC, and we're going to do a preseason ranking of them. So you just came in on that. You just came in the beginning. So after Jack, I'm going to have you go, and we're going to end up ranking all 16 quarterbacks. So far, I got 2 Dak first, 2 Jalen Hurts in second, and I got split between Jones and Daniels at 3 and 4. Jack, who do you got?
1 and 2 is so close. I mean, so close. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts by an inch of thread, and that could change after game 1 and game 2. I might go back to Dak Prescott because I think Jalen Hurts is going to reestablish himself somewhat. Maybe not getting back to what he was. And Dak is very, very good, but you're very close. It's like a dead heat. Jaden Daniels 3, the upside fact, a lot more upside than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones had 1 good season, out of 5? So that would be my ratings. Jalen Hurts barely, Dak Prescott 2nd, Jaden Daniels 3rd, and Daniel Jones 4th.
Okay.
And
Pags,
Max,
who would be your
press mine in since I have to jump off? If we're doing a tally, are you cool with that? Or we're doing like a grand tally? I can send them in like later today, or no?
Oh yeah, we'll have it on for next week. We'll have the tally, and then we'll do the AFC next week.
Can I just say something? If I was in the jury room deciding this with James and Sonia, they would probably get me to flip over to Dak sooner than I would get them to decide.
Well,
with Jalen. Which would be fine with me.
I love the comparison, Jack. The legal comparison.
All right. Sonia, we'll see you next week. Have a great one. Take care of yourself and keep up the hard work, hon.
Thanks, guys. Y'all too. Bye.
All right. So now we got Pags in here. And Pags, so far we had 2 for Dak, 1 for Jalen Hurts as number 1. We got 2 for Jaden Daniels at number 3, and 1 for Daniel Jones at number 3. Who would be your ranking of the 4 quarterbacks in the NFC East?
At current time, going forward into this year, I give Jalen Hurts the nod over Dak.
Okay.
I can't go by previous performance because Dak would win it at that point. It's just from now moving forward, I give it to Jalen Hurts. Then it would be Dak. Then it would be Daniel Jones is definitely in the bottom.
Okay.
So whoever Washington's quarterback is, even if I was quarterbacking Washington, I'd be number 3.
Always taking a shot at the Giants. I love it. I agree. I'm going with Jalen Hurts number 1, Dak number 2, Jaden Daniels number 3, and Daniel Jones number 4. So right now our top 4 are Jalen Hurts, Dak, Daniels, and Daniel Jones. So let's go to the NFC North. Okay. James, you start us off. You rank the 4 quarterbacks. We have Love, Goff, of course, Sam Darnold, and of course the rookie Caleb Williams. Where would you rank the North?
Man, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably not going to be the popular selection here. I'm going to go with Jared Goff, number one. I just think that he's proven himself to be a really good quarterback over time, and he's going through some obstacles. And I think his team he really has a good handle of this offense, and I like him at number one. And I like Love number two. I think Love, what he did, like you said, the last 7 games, he did well, and he'll continue to progress. But I like him number two, and I like what's the guy in Minnesota?
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. I'll take Sam Darnold number 3, and I'm going to go to Caleb Williams number 4, just because I think the team's going to struggle, not because of talent potential. I just think the team's going to struggle a lot.
Jack, how do you rank those 4?
I think you have to look that if you're starting a team, who you'd rather have in what order. I mean, that's important to do. It's easy to say players because they're rookies, put them all the way in the bottom and force them to prove themselves. You have to judge what you think their potential might be, as well. I mean, I would go with Jordan Love, number 1. And this is a shocker. I would go with Caleb Williams, number 2. I'm not the biggest Goff fan. I mean, he's solid. He's good. But I think Caleb Williams has more upside and, ultimately be a better quarterback in the league. And number 3, I'd go with Goff. And number 4, Sam Darnold, even though I feel Darnold's going to have a good year. He really has to prove himself. He's been in the league already, 6 years? So I can't elevate him above any of the other guys. And I'm going on Caleb Williams' potential, what I think he really could be. Consider that. This has nothing to do with accomplishment, obviously.
Okay, Pags, your order of the NFC North quarterbacks.
So in my case, I like Goff number 1. Here's going to be a surprising comparison. I'm going to rank, just in terms of quarterback play, Darnold number 2.
Wow.
I think Love is going to be the one who's going to play more like he did in the first 11 games than he did in the last 6 games. So I think that's more indicative of his play. And I think Caleb Williams is definitely going to be at the bottom. I have no belief in that guy.
Okay. So I'm going to go with Goff number 1. I think Goff is going to have a great year. I like Love number 2. I'm going with Darnold number 3, and I'm going with Caleb number 4 too. Of course, this is going to be records that are going to be involved in this too. So we have Jalen Hurts number 1. We have Dak Prescott number 2. Where do you put? We ended up with Goff number 1, Love number 2, Darnold number 3, and Williams number 4 as an overall pitcher. So with Goff being our first in the North, where do you put Goff alongside Jalen Hurts and Dak? Where? Let's go to you first, Pags. Where would Goff fit in amongst those 4 quarterbacks in the NFC East?
Well, it's a tough one. I look at that. You almost have to put him again. If you're going by past experience, you'd almost have to put him number 1. I think this year moving forward, in fact, I'm going to keep him there. He would be number 1.
Okay.
Goff would be that. It would be Goff, Hurts, Dak.
Okay, Goff, Hurts, Dak. Where would you put Love in there, Pags?
4th. Actually, Love would be down my list a little bit. So at this point, I would probably do Darnold. Just between those 8, I put Darnold at number 4.
Okay, so let me get this. So we got him, Dak. You've got Darnold at number 4. I don't think he's going to stay there, but I'll pencil him in for now. So Darnold number 4. Where would you put Love then? Would you put Love behind Darnold?
Yes, Love would be 5. Then you'd have to go with Washington 6. Caleb, I think, will be better than Daniel Jones.
Okay. So we got Williams better than Jones. Jack, where would you put we have Goff as our first pick. Where would you put Goff amongst Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott?
I'd put him third. I mean, Goff is solid. He's good, but he's not a game changer type quarterback who's going to take over a game. He's going to manage a game very, very well. I mean, Dak Prescott at his best can be a game changer. Jalen Hurts at his best can be a game changer. Goff at his best isn't a game changer. He's a very efficient game manager.
Right. So would you put him behind Hurts and Dak?
I would put him behind both.
Okay. So
I know they love him in Detroit. I know he took the Rams to a Super Bowl in which, he didn't play well in that game. That's why the Rams moved on from him to Matthew Stafford.
okay. James, how about you? Where would you place Goff with Hurts and Dak?
Same as Jack, third. I wouldn't put him in front of those two guys.
Okay. And Love, where would you place Love at? Fourth. Jack, Love, where would you put Love?
This might be a shock first, actually. I think he has a ton of upside. He came on last year. I think it's no accident they gave him that major contract. I think he's going to be one of the elite quarterbacks in the league for years to come.
And where would you place Sam Darnold, Jack?
Sam, I would have to put between the four of them. You're talking
Yes.
about Love, Dak, and Jalen Hurts. I'd have to put him fourth. I mean, even though I think he's going to have a good year this year, yeah, he's got to be fourth in that group.
All right. I would definitely keep Jalen Hurts first. I would have Dak, and then I would put Goff in there, followed by Love. And so let's see what we got. Darnold would be, I guess he would be third, and Williams fourth. So what we got so far, guys, we still got Hurst on top. We have Goff, believe it or not, in second. Dak in third. We have Love in fourth, followed by Darnold, Daniels, and DJ. Let's make sure I got them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who am I missing here? Oh, Williams. So we got Williams in front of Daniels. And then we got DJ at the bottom. All right. So that's what we got so far. So we go to the
real quick, Mac. I'm sorry because I'm just about to go into the Lincoln Tunnel. I'm at the Fanatics Fan Fest, which is why I'm headed up today. So I just wanted to stop on while I was driving to say hello because I had missed you guys for the last couple of weeks.
Okay, if you can, Pags, get a shot. Email me your top 16 so we have it for next week of the NFC, if you would. All right?
I can make that happen. And
All right, my friend.
if I get into the Fanatics Fest before you guys are done, I'll show you guys real quick on what's
All right.
going on because I'm up in New York City, actually, at the Javits Center.
All right, sounds great. Pags, have a good one if we don't see you. If we do see you again, great. Have a good one, buddy.
Take care, Pags.
Take care.
All right. So far, interesting. Goff is a lot higher than I thought he'd be. Love is a little bit lower than I thought he'd be. And Darnold is a little bit higher than I thought he'd be, too. Now we go into the NFC West, guys. We've got Brock Purdy, which is a big name. We'll see where he ends up. Matt Stafford may be in play here. Geno Smith, who's no slouch. And then you got Kyler Murray, who hasn't played at all. So to me, this is going to be really interesting, the West here, because a lot of people like Stafford, and, of course, a lot of people love Purdy. So let's just do it this way since we don't have everybody here. Let's go with Brock Purdy first. We have Hurst, Goff, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love. Does Purdy, James, get in that 1, 2, 3 top 4?
He's number one. Oh, he's 4. He's in the top 4 overall.
overall?
Yeah, that's a great question because Purdy, to me, is in a great system. He's an overachiever. He's a game manager. I just don't know how high his ceiling is. He may have topped out at where his ceiling is. And I don't know if I could put him in a top 4. I don't know if I could put him. I don't think he can unseat any of those other guys.
So
But
would you put him ahead? Would you put him ahead of Sam Darnold?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be the number 5 slot.
Well, Donald was his backup last year at San Francisco. That's
right.
That's obvious. Yeah.
So
Right.
where would you place Brock Purdy? Would he make your top 4, Jack, of Hurst, Goff, Dak, and Love?
Again, we're going not only on accomplishments, but potential. I think the next wave of outstanding quarterbacks, the 2 guys, we're going to leap towards the forefront and be 2 amongst the best. If they're not there already, Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. I look for them to take the leap up into the elite this year. Not that Purdy hasn't done it already. So you're asking me how I'd rate them compared to the others? Yeah, I think they're going career-wise. They're going to be around longer and be greater than Prescott and Jalen Hurts. Okay, you're looking years down the road. I think Brock Purdy's going to be there, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and Jordan Love as well. I can't say that with absolute confidence about Prescott and Hurts.
We're talking this year coming up, Jack. Would you put him ahead of Hurst, Goff, Dak, or Love?
I'm hesitant on Jordan Love. The others, I would put Brock Purdy ahead of this coming year. But the others, I'm hesitant. I would say no to Jordan Love because I have a feeling Jordan Love is going to have one of these great breakthrough years. And by the end of this season, he's going to be perceived definitely as a top 5 quarterback, maybe even a top 3 by the end of the year.
Okay. All right. I would put Brock Purdy, believe it or not. Listen, the guy's been to what? A championship, a Super Bowl. I'm putting him ahead of Dak. I'm putting him just behind Goff for right now. I think he's going to be a great one too, Jack. Jack, what do you think about LA Rams, Matt Stafford? Would he bring?
Wait, you said Elway a second now.
LA. I meant LA.
I thought you said Elway too. Yeah.
Yeah. Where would you place LA?
This is the situation for one given year. How I look at things from team's perspective. If Jerry Jones' phone rang and they offered the 49ers, you could have Brock Purdy for Dak Prescott. I think he makes the deal. But if the Niners' phone rings and they offer Dak Prescott for Purdy, I think the Niners say definitely a firm no, thank you. Okay, Matthew Stafford has injury issues, And if we're talking about 1 year here coming up, I'm not as confident with Matthew Stafford because I think he's a player that's on his way out. I think he's trying to just squeeze in this year, and if he has a good year this year, maybe he'll come back next year. He's a year-at-a-time player at this point in his career. He's not looking like I'm going to play 3-4 years. He's taking it as it comes along, and I can never rate guys like that highly. And I'm going to get into another certain quarterback later on why I'm looking at it that way with him as well. So I would rate Matthew Stafford behind Brock Purdy based on that. If it was a young version of Matthew Stafford, now we could have another discussion.
Jack, where would you place Matt Stafford? Would you put him ahead of Hurst? Of Jalen Hurst?
Oh, wow. The X Factor guys. Hurts had problems with the coaching last year, the attitude. He lost his way at the end of the year. Is he going to regain his way? I don't know. Matthew Stafford's going to be solid this year with the Rams. That's a tough one. I don't know the answer, and I have to give us like a split answer. I've always loved Jalen Hurts, but you're asking me.
Jack, you're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me here.
I'll put Stafford ahead of Hurts, son. And
Would you put him ahead of Jared Goff?
yeah, definitely.
Would you put him ahead of Purdy?
No.
Would you put him ahead of Dak Prescott?
Yes.
Would you put him ahead of Jordan Love?
No.
All right. James, Matt Stafford, would you put him ahead of Hurst?
No.
Put him ahead of Goff?
No.
Purdy?
No.
Dak?
No.
Jordan Love?
No. I just think everything that Jack just said about the age and everything 1 year at a time, I just think that's going to play a role on it. He's showing it. It showed last season.
Okay, so you would put him ahead of Sam Darnold, I would think, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I would also put Stafford ahead of Sam Darnold as far as that goes. Geno Smith, very interesting. Let's start with James. I'm sure you wouldn't put him ahead of Hurts.
So we can go. I'll make it easy for you. Let's put him behind Matthew Stafford ahead of Sam Darnold. That's it.
Okay, so you've got Geno Smith ahead of Darnold underneath Stafford. Geno Smith, Jack. Is he better than Jordan Love?
No.
Better than Hurts?
I'll make your job easy for you, Mac, even though I made it hard before. He's not better than anyone. But unless we're getting to Derek Carr and guys like that, then we can talk.
Well, we will get to that. So are you saying Geno Smith is worse than Daniel Jones?
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't realize Daniel Jones there. I'm making it hard for you again, Mac. I'll go with Geno slightly over Daniel Jones. Yeah, okay.
Is he better than Jaden Daniels?
No.
Is he better than Caleb Williams?
No.
All right, so he's second to last. I think Matt Stafford, or Geno Smith, I should say. I think Geno Smith is better than any of the rookies. I think he's better than Sam Darnold also. So right now, this is what we have before we get to Kyler Murray. We got Hurts. We got Goff. We got Purdy. We got Dak. We got Love. We got Stafford as a team. We got Darnold and Geno. I'm going with Darnold. So we got Darnold. We got Geno. We got Williams. We got Daniels. And we got Jones. So that's it so far. So now we go to the South. All right.
Well, you forgot Kyler Murray.
Oh, sorry, Kyler Murray. I forgot about Kyler Murray. You are correct.
Yes.
And Kyler Murray, I mean, would you make him better than Stafford? James?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why I said it is only because of age. Stafford was a fine quarterback. He was the best thing that ever happened to Detroit, but him and Calvin Johnson were the offense. But he's older now, and I can see it. I see it, and I like the addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that's going to elevate Kyler Murray. I just think I would put him ahead of Stafford.
Wait a minute.
But that's one of the things we're not considering.
Go ahead, Jack.
We're not considering position. You know, the other players surrounding him. We put Sam Darnold towards the bottom. He's got a good running game now with Aaron Jones. He's got elite wide receivers, maybe the best in football. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hockenstein. He has a really good tight end. He's got weapons and imagine they block for Sam Darnold, you know, and he's going to have advantages other quarterbacks might not have, yet we're putting him on the bottom.
listen, first of all, you guys keep talking about Stafford's age. We're talking about next year. Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams. He took and almost beat the Lions in the playoffs. We're talking about next year, guys. We're not talking about down the road. Next year. So you have Kyle Murray ahead of Matt Stafford, James.
Yes, we're talking about potential. You're talking about the potential. You can't say
We are
like you said,
ranking. We are ranking them for this year coming up. You think
Okay.
Kyler Murray is going to be better than Matt Stafford this year?
yes.
Okay, Jack. Kyler Murray, would you rank him ahead of Matt Stafford?
I'm going to do it because I think he's going to stay healthier than Matthew Stafford this year. I think Stafford, something about him, I feel he's on the way out. He has one foot out the door. That's
Okay.
the feeling that I have.
I just-
I might look like a total fool saying
That's
this.
all right.
He
It's
might have
okay.
an MVP caliber season. He might make a fool out of me.
Same.
It's okay because Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is what he is. I'm gonna disagree with both of you, but you guys outvote me here. I think Kyler Murray's worse than Geno Smith, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens.
Let's see the maturity issue. He has Marvin Harrison, who's potentially going to be a great receiver. Now you can make the argument, well, Daniel Jones has Malik Neighbors. I know
Right.
and all that. But Kyler Murray was good at one point. Keep that in mind. Remember when Kyler Murray at his best when he was playing at the NFL was showing that he could be one of the elite quarterbacks in the league at some point, but then he lost his way for whatever reason, partly injury, partly maturity issues, but maybe he finally has it back together. I like the potential more going forward this season than I like with Matthew Stafford this season.
I agree.
Okay. All right. Shoot, a lot of people have, and some lists have Darnold up in the top three. I mean, Stafford up in the top three, but you guys don't see it like that, so that's fine. We'll see what happens.
Well, he's a Hall of Famer, Stafford.
Absolutely.
Basing this on past performance.
Right. We're talking this next year coming up, though. So,
Right.
So let me see. We got Daniels. Wow, that's surprising. I thought you guys would have Stafford a little bit higher than, but that's interesting.
It's
so
close.
Right now
It's close.
we have Kyle Murray right behind Jordan Love as number 5 in the NFC. You guys are drinking something in the morning besides
Well,
coffee.
he was a number 1 overall.
Well, you gotta
in the
also
draft, so it's
factor in. There's only 3 of us voting now versus we had 4 people, so it might have been a different too. But
Yes.
yeah, I
Well, that's
wouldn't
okay.
have behind Jordan Love.
Yes. Okay, so now we go on to the South. So right now we got Hurts, Goff, Purdy, Dak, Love. That's a pretty solid 5 to me. Murray, Stafford, Darnold, Geno, Williams, Daniels, and Daniel Jones. So that right now is what we got going on. So we move to the South. We've got Derek Carr. We've got Baker Mayfield. We've got Kirk Cousins now. This could be a shaker. Kirk Cousins, depending on how good you think Kirk Cousins is, might break into the top 5 or something, right? So we got them, and then we got Bryce Young as the 4th player. So Jack, if we're gonna start with probably the best quarterback in the South. I mean, we're gonna have to say Kirk Cousins is probably the best in the South. Is Kirk Cousins better than Kyle Murray, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I would trust him more. He's more solid. It's a trust factor. Kyler Murray's a wild card. If he hits a ceiling, yeah, he'll be great. But if he doesn't hit a ceiling, he can be quite mediocre. So,
Is he, Jack? Is he?
Nothing else. He's like a student at school who is always going to get B pluses.
Okay.
Kyler Murray can get A's all the time, or he could be struggling to get a C, or he could be a D student. That type of thing.
Is Cousins better than Jordan Love this year?
No.
Is he better than Dak Prescott this year?
Yeah, because I think his team might be better. I think he might elevate the Falcons. Have a better year.
Is he better than Brock Purdy this year?
No.
James, Kirk Cousins, is he better than Kyle Murray to you?
Yes.
Is he better than Jordan Love?
No.
Okay. Is he better than Dak Prescott?
No.
All right. I have Cousins, believe it or not. I think he might be better than Jordan Love. I think he might be. I think he
You
might
know,
be better.
if you feel the Falcons are going to have a really good year, you know, it's a good point. It's a point well taken. We're not looking at past performance. So the consensus is that both the Packers and Falcons are going to take a little step forward. So
Yeah.
I think.
But again, everything is projected on paper. We haven't seen any of this come to fruition yet.
and Cousins is coming off his injury as well.
Right.
He has the Michael Penix factor, you know, looking over his shoulder.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to Derek Carr. We're going to start with James because I know James will be a little bit easier on him than Jack will be. Is Derek Carr better than Matt Stafford?
No.
Is he better than Kyle Murray?
Yes.
Ooh. So you said Kyler Murray is better than Matt Stafford, but you think that Derek Carr is better than is not as good as Stafford, but better than Kyle Murray. Explain yourself.
It's complicated. I would say that skills wise, I mean, I think his team is better. I think the weapons that Carr has is better. So but I just don't see him given our offensive line. He may struggle a little bit to get the ball out, but I do think skills wise, I think he's better than Kyler Murray though.
But not better than Stafford.
No, I just don't think so.
All right, Jack. You've got Derek Carr, your favorite quarterback. Is he better than Sam Darnold?
No.
Okay. Okay. I know we're okay. That's beautiful. All right. So we move to let me get this updated here real quick. So wow.
He's one of the best. He'd be one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL, Derek Carr. One of the best. I would sign him as a backup. Listen, I'm going to compliment him. I would have preferred him slightly over Tyrod Taylor.
Oh my goodness! Now come on, he's had much better. If you put him and Sam Darnold's career together, he's
awful. He's awful. Oh. He has big games. He has good games from time to time. And he's going to have a few good games here and there. Okay. He's going to sprinkle in some good games, but
there's a shroud of bias over you right now, Jack.
Yeah.
I see it. It's just swim over you.
I said it before last year. He's walking off the field and the center's yelling at him. And he's yelling back at the center.
I'm definitely putting Carr ahead of Darnold, but that's where I put him. So next up, we've got Baker Mayfield. Interesting. Is Baker Mayfield better than Geno Smith?
I just want to say one thing very quickly with Derek Carr, that the Raiders could have had him as their quarterback. They preferred this mess they have with Aiden O'Connell and Minshew over having Derek Carr. Enough said. They got rid of Derek Carr.
That doesn't speak to his talent. That speaks to the ineptitude of the organization. I just think that organization is terrible.
Yeah.
James, don't fall for it. Is Baker Mayfield better than Geno Smith?
Yes, he's better than Geno Smith.
Is he better than Geno Smith? James, yes.
I agree.
Is he better than Sam Darnold?
Who are you asking me?
Yeah, I would say Baker Mayfield is, and I'll tell you why. They had a quarterback competition at Carolina, and he did beat Darnold out. Okay, so based on that, I'll And he had a really good year, Baker, for Tampa Bay, and he's their starter now. He's expected to be their starter next year. Darnold is kind of holding the fort, for JJ McCarthy.
He's
Yes.
better.
He's better than Darnold. Is he better than Derek Carr?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
Okay. How about you? Is he better than Derek Carr?
Yeah.
Is he better than Matt Stafford?
no.
Okay, so he goes right. I agree with everything you guys just said there. He goes underneath Stafford. And of course, we got Bryce Young. Is Bryce Young better than Geno Smith?
That's a hard one. It's hard to really tell.
We're only going on 1 year next
Yeah.
year. We're not looking long term, I guess. We're just
I would say
talking
no.
about this season.
I mean, I would say, is he better than Geno Smith? I'm going to say yes because of the ceiling is still there.
This year
ceiling
coming
for
up.
this season. We're not
This
talking
year
about
coming up. I don't care about his ceiling. Is he better than Geno Smith this year, Jay?
Yes.
Okay. Is he better than Sam Darnold?
No.
Jack, is Bryce Young better than Geno Smith?
No, it pains me to say it. Maybe in a few years, 3-4 years, but not this.
Is he better than Caleb Williams?
No.
Is he better than Jaden Daniels?
No, it pains me to say because I like Bryce Young, but
Is he better than Daniel Jones?
Yes.
I'm going to say perhaps no, because Daniel Jones has Malik Neighbors. He does have a really good weapon, but I'd have to say no if push comes to shove.
I would say no too. He hasn't shown me anything yet.
I need him
we'll
to
see this year.
said it best. We need him to show us something.
I don't see
to elevate him.
any weapons he has or anything around him either. Just because of the position he's in right now. So I would put him below Daniel
I think
Jones
he'll be a
too.
good quarterback
So
a few years down the line, though.
it's possible. It's possible,
Yeah, but
or
next year, I'm not optimistic. I mean, this season
or his career gets ruined. One or the other. We'll find out what happens. So let's go to. I think we got one other division to go to, don't we? NFC East, NFC West. We did the South and North. No, we're done. We're done, right?
Yep.
All right. So this is our final tally here. We got Hurts at number 1, Goff at number 2, Purdy at number 3, Dak at number 4. Love at number 5, Cousins at number 6. I think that's a pretty good top 6.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good top 6. I mean, I think the order is pretty close too. Then we kind of get a little crazy here. We got Murray at number 7, Stafford at number 8, Mayfield at number 9, Carr at number 10. So that's our top 10 quarterbacks. Believe it or not, Derek Carr and Mayfield are in our top 10. Then we fall off with Darnold, Geno, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Daniel Jones, and Bryce Young. Any of those bottom 10, wait a minute, let's finish it off. Any of those bottom 10 you think this year could move up into the top 10 of our predictions? Remember, this is predictions.
Yes, a couple of the rookies, I think. I mean,
Okay.
I can see Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels moving up.
Okay. How about you, Jack?
No, I agree. I mean, chances are they would, but you have to look at the players surrounding these quarterbacks, the team surrounding them as well. I mean, we might make a big deal about Kirk Cousins. You know, the Falcons are bound to get better. You know, even if they didn't make a coaching change, they've been 7-10 the last 3 years. They've underachieved. So they're bound to get better. And a lot of people are projecting them to have 10, 11, maybe even 12 wins, you know. Not that I'm saying they will, but they are bound to be better. But Kirk Cousins, look at what he's done in his career. He's like the worker who, when it's when the time ends on the work day and he still has some work on his desk, he won't stay an extra minute or two. You know, he like just punches out and he's gone. You know, but he fulfills what he has to. He's just good enough. He's won one playoff game in his whole career.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily his fault, but he's failed to really elevate teams. He's managed teams. He's done well, and he's always been in demand as a free agent. You know.
Yes, I mean, listen, he does make Atlanta a better team. That's for sure. I mean, they are the odds-on favorite to win that division this year. I think not only does Kirk Cousins have problems in playoffs, Kirk Cousins has problems in big games. Period. And that's something that, you know, some quarterbacks are decent and really play great in big time games, and some quarterbacks are really good during the season, like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, to name a couple that are very good during the season. I mean, Kirk Cousins is a very statistically, and Dak statistically are among the top in the league. But when it comes to the big games, something happens, and you know it's not always their fault. You said, Jack. Sometimes it's the defense lets you down. Sometimes it's a missed field goal. Who knows? It just seems that these guys can't get over the top. Maybe one of them does this year. That'd be very interesting if one of them does.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument against Lamar Jackson. I think sometimes you run up against a really good defense in the playoff game, and it's just not there. I mean, it's so hard to win these Super Bowls. The Chiefs spoil us. But it's so hard sometimes to take the next step.
And so did the Patriots, and so did the Cowboys when they had their run, and so did the Steelers when they had their run. I mean, there are teams that come to the cream of the, you know, they rise. And they're just coached better. They're coached better. They got experience. They know how to win. There's a lot of reasons why some of these teams can dominate or have some kind of a little bit of a run when it comes to Super Bowls.
But guys, it's about perception. And I'm going to give you an example. Brock Purdy during the Super Bowl, when he left the field and wasn't playing anymore, the Niners had a lead on the Chiefs. If the Niner defense stopped the Chiefs, you know what we'd be saying today? Brock Purdy's the best quarterback in the NFL. But maybe, well, in the NFC. I think his rating today would have been elevated higher than, you know, we actually have him. We would have had him ahead of the other guys. We would have said, well, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Would he have been the Super Bowl MVP? I don't know. And let's say he was Super Bowl MVP, and we would have looked at him differently, but he left the field and the Chiefs came back, scored the touchdown. He never had a chance to touch the ball again. And we're rating him we're rating him a little differently based on that.
Well, we still got him, Jack, number 3 behind Hurts and
Goff. But he would be number 1.
I don't know. Goff went to a Super Bowl. Hurts went to a Super Bowl. All 3 of those quarterbacks have been there. And that's, to me, is saying something. I mean,
the Lions had a big lead. And that they let get away against the Niners to miss out on the Super Bowl. And Goff didn't really rally the troops, you know, during a time when someone had to do it. So you can look at it that way, too.
All right. So Dennis from the Trailer Park and Country Band. All right. Thank you. Happy Sunday to you, too. All right. So, you know, we got trailer parks. We got all kinds of things on this show here and the Big Football Show. We got about 17 minutes left here. We should be able to make it through this. We won't make it to some of the other things I had. Let's see. Should I give you a Hard Knocks update? Let me give you a Hard Knocks update. We'll probably get that in and try and get to number 11 through 20 of the top 100 players, putting them by players. So on a Hard Knocks update, guys, we got the head coach changing the offense. This was the episode before Saban makes an appearance. Eberflus, the head coach of the Vikings, played for Nick Saban. So he went in there and he talked to they had a camera on them talking about Caleb Williams mostly. DJ Moore, big signing. And, of course, Caleb Williams is signing during episode 1. Episode 2 was them prepping for the second preseason game, guys. It starts off about Simone Biles and the defensive back, his wife being over there, him coming back, them all giving him a big round of applause. They had Simone Biles picture up there on the screen. Of course, Owen's talking about that. They're going through the group of guys when they play, the different groups that are going to be going in for the preseason game. And they also, which was very interesting, sat down with Caleb Williams and did a scouting report of the referees that would be at the game. Some people don't realize that this is part of the get ready for the regular season game. They actually scout the refs to see what they call and what they don't call. And, does this ref call holding more than the other one? Does he call pass interference? What will he let you get away with? So it showed the meetings of that, which they just started, going over with Caleb Williams. They talked about the Odunze, the work he was doing with Odunze, Caleb Williams, of course, trying to get on page, which would be maybe his other part of the tandem for the next few years. Jalen Johnson, defensive back, shutting down Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen isn't having a great camp over there right now for the Bears, and Jalen Johnson is an all-pro defensive back. So it showed Keenan Allen having a lot of struggles, the big thing going against each other, and, of course, getting ready for the Buffalo game. So, it is kind of – the behind-the-scenes stuff is a lot better than the training camp stuff, to be honest with you. So I don't know if you guys saw it or not, the Hard Knocks on the Bears, but that's what it's. And of course, the next one will be about the last preseason game, getting ready to the regular season game. So for all you Bear fans out there, I know you're watching. I know they have watch parties on certain other shows to have a watch party on the Hard Knocks, which is interesting. Anyway, so. Let's get to 11 through 20 of the top 100 players voted on by the NFL players. Number 11, guys, is linebacker, San Francisco's 49ers linebacker, Fred Warner. 3 times All-Pro, 766 tackles, 9 sacks, 11 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries in the past 3 years. He had 1 pass intercepted for a touchdown. Really, they talk about Nick Bosa a lot, guys, who hasn't been in here yet. Fred Warner is really the captain of that defense. I don't know if you watch him during the games. This guy's intense. He's the leader. He's the captain calling the plays. I think it's a good pick for him to be in the top 20. What do you guys think?
I'm not sure number 11's a little high for him. He's obviously very, very good. I mean, I would think he'd be more along the lines of flirting with the number 20 position rather than be closer to the top 10. But this isn't to diminish him. He's a heck of a player. But you're talking about barely missing out on the top 10 in the whole league. But it's hard to compare positions. That's what the problem is.
It really is. It really is. James, what are your thoughts? Good position for him, maybe farther down, farther up. What do you think?
I think he's fair where he's at. I mean, what other linebacker would you put ahead of him? I mean, so you're looking at a linebacker in his position versus some of the top 10. We're talking about quarterbacks, some other defensive players that are defensive linemen. I think it's fair where he's at. And they got him ahead of. I know I don't want to say your next one, but I can see why Jack would say that. But I mean, man, PFF has him the number 1 rated linebacker with Demario Davis right behind him. So I think he's pretty fair where he's at.
I like the pick. I think he belongs in the top 20. I mean, it's only a matter of opinion, really, where you place players, right? But I think he's intense. I think he's a leader in San Francisco defense, which is a very good
He is. But guys, let's just focus on his own team for a moment. He might only be the 4th, 5th best player on his own team. When you think of it, look at Trent Williams, look at Christian McCaffrey, look at Deebo Samuel, and a couple of others.
Most of those are already in the top 10. And most of those are already in the top 10, Jack. So anyway, I mean, we could debate it, but let's get to number 12 is Josh Allen. In 3 years, 22,703 yards, 63% passing rating, 167 touchdowns, 78 interceptions, rushes for 3,611 yards, 53 TDs. I mean, he's an MVP caliber. The problem he has is red zone interceptions, but they came close to beating the Chiefs and maybe going to the Super Bowl that one time. Number 12, is he better than Lamar Jackson? Matter of opinion, I guess. But number 12, in the top 20, Josh Allen belongs there. I think you both.
Let me throw this at you guys. Name one other player in the NFL who tries to take a team and carry them on his back game after game. I mean, you could say maybe Lamar Jackson to an extent, but no one is putting forth the effort more so than Josh Allen. He's trying to do it all. You know, he tries to run his team to victory, like to will his team to victory. You know, the position is earned, number 12. I mean, I'm fine with that with him.
Number 13. Yes.
Sorry, I was about to say it's fair. You can even argue that he could crack the top 10.
You could. You definitely could. CeeDee Lamb is number 13, first team All-Pro 2023 receptions leader. He has 385 receptions, 5,145 yards, 36 touchdowns in 3 years. CeeDee Lamb, number 13. I think he belongs in the top 20. I'm not sure if 13's right, but I think he should be in the top 20.
I question whether he belongs in the top 30. I mean, he's not one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, he's just not.
You
know, two rookies are coming up this year who are going to be better than him. Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors.
Jack. He was a 2023 receptions leader.
And almost a yard.
I've seen the guy play since he came out of college. You forget the way he kept dropping the ball and couldn't even hold on to the ball.
He improved. I mean, hold on.
He's very good.
There was nobody else. There was nobody else on the team. And he still got the numbers.
That's what made him look good to an extent.
You could go both ways.
Very good by default in the sense
well,
he's a very good receiver.
But that commands double teams though when you know that there's nobody else.
They do have another complimentary wide receiver. I forget his name right now, but he had a pretty decent year too. But CeeDee Lamb, I think, top 20 easy. So
Garrett Wilson is better than him. Malik Neighbors,
George, number
Marvin Harrison, young receivers, let alone Justin Jefferson,
number 14,
Devontae
George Kittle,
Adams,
two-time Super Bowl, two-time All. Jack, we're pushing on. George Kittle, number 14, two-time All-Pro, 460 receiving receptions, 6,274 yards, 37 TDs. That's in 5 years, 2017 to 2023, 6 years, 6 years. Belongs in top 20, no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. As a tight end, I think he had a better year than Kelsey last year. But
I don't think so at this point. I just don't think so. Maybe because he has all these other elite players around him on offense. But
Jack,
maybe it's the way it's being utilized. I mean, you're right. Listen, what number did you say? 13?
This is what the players voted. Number 14.
Yeah, I think he's a little short of that at this point. Maybe it's because of the way he's been utilized. I mean, I would put him up there maybe 23 to 25 or so. 13's kind of little high at this point.
Okay. He played the position like what tight end's supposed to play. I mean, he's the best blocker. He's just as good, but not better than in regards to receiving. But he's a great tight end.
How about number 13, James? I respect him. He's a heck of a player, future Hall of Famer. But at this point, with all the players in the NFL, would you rate him as the 13th best player?
It's fair where it's at to me. Yes, I would.
It's not. I'm not outraged by it. I would give in an argument. You know,
sure.
Sooner than someone would give in with me. He's terrific. He's been terrific during his career. but last year he wasn't the impact player he was in prior years.
I think he was maybe the best tight end in yardage last year. But anyway, that's number 14. Jalen Hurts is number 15, two-time second team All-Pro, 11,764 yards passing, 67 touchdowns to 34 interceptions. Passing yards, I already put that. Let's see, rushing 41 touchdowns. He comes at number 15 behind George Kittle, which is interesting. I don't know if that's a fair placement or not, but Hurts should be in the top 20.
I could see him falling out of the top 20 on this one just because of last season, because they vote this based off of what you did last season and what you projected to do this season. I could see him falling back out of the top 20 just how everything went down.
Fair. What do you think, Jack? Top
I
20?
mean, it's a little maybe on the high end. I could see him more like number 20. I'd have to study the list ahead of him and see who they put him ahead of, you know.
And as you said, Jack, it's hard because it's different positions too.
Yeah.
We were talking quarterback compared to tight end. Number 16 is Dak Prescott. He was NFL Rookie of the Year. He was a passing leader last year. TDs over his career, 200 to 74, which is great ratio. First team All Pro, 24,459 yards during his career. Had a great year last year. I could see him farther up than where he is right now at number 16. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I could see him ahead of Hurts for definitely, and maybe a couple of other players on this list, but not too high. I mean, I still like that top 10 list, but I would keep him in the top 20 for sure.
Yes,
and ahead of Hurts.
Okay.
Well, sometimes the best thing to do, because it's hard comparing a position play on one team to a different position play on another team, is to just look at the guy's team itself. And is he the best player on his own team? I mean, if you compare Dak Prescott to Micah Parsons and say who's a better player, I'd rather have that comparison than to compare Dak Prescott to, let's say, Nick Bosa. Yeah, because this way you get sent on the guy's own team. Who's more valuable? Who does Jerry Jones feel more of an urgency to sign, you know, long term? And you get the feeling Jerry Jones might be a little more concerned with signing Micah Parsons than Dak Prescott, even though I'm sure, you know, he wants to sign Dak.
So with that, Jack, number 17 is Micah Parsons. He's, of course, two-time first-team All-Pro, 213 tackles, 40 and a half sacks over his career, 7 forced fumbles, 1 TD. Also got the Pro Dick Butkus Award. He sits behind Dak Prescott at number 17.
He should be ahead of Lamb for sure, Micah Parsons. I don't think that's even close to me. I mean, if the Cowboys could sign one or the other, I mean, come on, you sign Micah Parsons over Lamb.
He
Jack,
didn't play full potential last year.
Let me tell you something, Jack. You are totally opposite of everybody else on that take. Everybody thinks CeeDee Lamb is the number one signing that the Cowboys must make because who is Dak Prescott going to throw to? But I also ask, if Dak Prescott isn't the quarterback 2 years from now, who's going to throw to CeeDee Lamb? So I think they're intertwined. I think Micah Parsons is a great regular season linebacker. During the playoffs, though, he kind of falls short.
They all fell short.
Yes, but especially your playmaker. Number 18, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, I think, might have been higher if he wasn't hurt last year, but he was the leader of receptions 2022, yards leader 2022. Justin Jefferson definitely, I think, deserves to be in the top 20.
If he's healthy, he's the best receiver in football. So
I agree.
I agree with that too, Jack, except for maybe Lamar Chase when he's healthy. That's pretty close.
Maybe Brown, you know, with Philadelphia, you can make an argument on his behalf.
Close, very close, but he's up there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Raekwon Smith, the next linebacker from Baltimore, he's the leader on that team for sure. 851 tackles, 20 sacks, 9 interceptions. I mean, that's the second linebacker on the list. We got to get this in real quick. CJ Stroud is number 20 offensive rookie of the year. Based off 1 year, I guess you keep him that low, but he's still in the top 20. I have no problem with that at all. I don't think either one of you do either.
No.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but let's see what he does this second year.
Yes. And remember, this is not voted by writers or coaches.
Yeah.
These are the players voting on the players, and I think a lot of that has to do with relationships. Also, if the relationship between players aren't so good, you might have them down further down the line. So that's an interesting facet in that too. Guys, thanks for tuning us. Thanks for all the views. Thanks for all the comments. Me and Jack will be back Monday, and we are on Roku at 4 o'clock. Got a lot of things happening Monday. I got to get off there. Have a